Okay, for the next step, we're going to want to go ahead and do some spinning. So we need to create a lot of variability. So I'm just going to open back up my locksmiths.docx, okay, or my document anyway for locksmiths. And that's where I still have my tabs for Excel stored in here, right? These are the tabs for Excel. All right, now I'm going to go to a service called SpinRewriter, SpinRewriter.com. You may or may not know it. And when you go, okay, then you can do things with it, and they have a really new engine 9.0. It's pretty good. So I could rewrite a single article or multiple articles. If you go to rewrite multiples, then you might put your articles into multiple text fields because you're doing one, then the next, then the next. So you would paste in your first one here, then you would add another article, add another, add another. Okay, so you can do things like that if that's helpful to you. And you would use settings like automatically rewrite complete sentences, automatically rewrite entire paragraphs, automatically change the entire structure of phrases and sentences. That seems to be working fine. But do not automatically write additional paragraphs and summaries. Why not? Because we have an Excel file, okay? And in the Excel file, it has a certain exact number of headlines and paragraphs going all the way across. So if we start arbitrarily writing extra sentences and paragraphs into place, or extra paragraphs anyway, then they're going to knock everything over and everything's going to get out of order, and we cannot have that. These things must line up. For our website productions to work, it has to choose from a header, then choose from a first paragraph, then choose from a next paragraph, then choose from another subheader, and so on. It has to follow whatever the flow is on this Excel file. So everything must line up. Okay. So coming back here, I could just go back anyway and just do this with a single. Let me go to home and let me go to single article. Okay. Rewrite a single article. Now here's going to be the thing. I can't just paste the article in here with those Excel tabs because it's going to have a problem with those tabs. It's going to replace them with a space, and I'm going to lose all of my markers. Well, I went through a number of different attempts at markers, Spanish tilde, the upper caret symbol, and many of them don't work. So I thought I got a little more creative. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to replace any one of those tabs for this purpose. Control C, Control H, Control V. You don't need to make a backup because you already have it in Excel. So you're going to replace it with this. We want to have a symbol like open parenthesis, close parenthesis is a great one. Except we don't want it to touch words, or it's going to seem like one big word with strange characters. So we're going to put a space before it actually, and a space after it. So just to do this again, it's space, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, space. Replace all. Okay. And we can search from the beginning, make sure to get the whole thing. Okay. Now we can close this. And again, sometimes it throws one in at the end. We'll just go ahead and delete that out. Okay. So now that we have all this in place, I wonder if it's got a stray character there. No. All right. Now that we have all this in place, we can Control A, Control C, and paste it here as plain text or whatever. Now take a look. It's saving those characters, and it will actually do the job of working around our underscores and working around our characters the entire way, which is completely awesome. Okay, we love that. So yes, I've got on, off, on. Okay, that's what I've got. Now you can kind of play with these settings to see how it helps you with your editing, because your job's going to be in the spinning to kind of think through the editing. SpinRewriter makes it really easy to do, okay? But I'm leaving it up to your expertise to actually think through variations. Okay, we're not gonna do a one-click rewrite. It's usually too risky. I'm just gonna go with start rewriting and give it a little time to figure things out. And so it's saying that it's actually rewriting the text on sentence and paragraph, and changing the entire structure of the text. What it's really doing is comprehending all that. So it's kind of getting it lined up and ready, right? And that's good for this part because that way you can make sure you get this much done. And then we'll move on to the next step, which is really this. We're going to go ahead and do a one-click rewrite. So far, it's offering a lot of this stuff now. Okay. And notice you can do things like double click a word to see a list of suggested synonyms, which you can change or trade or do what you want with. So let's say I say best, like double click it, and it might be like finest, ideal, greatest, absolute best, most ideal. And this is just too many and too weird. I don't even want to spend time on it. But I might go like this, top. And that way it just gives me a few. I can close it out, okay? And then I can like get rid of some of these things pretty quickly, but I forget exactly how, because I haven't been in here in a long time. I just started monkeying with it recently. But we can do that on the next step anyway. So let's see. Okay, so we're just going to move forward with one-click rewrite. Okay, and it's the page is going to bump and bump and bump and bump as it fills in lots and lots and lots of variations all the way down. See, that's what it's doing. Some of these are better than others. Kind of going through some of these is cool. It's a pretty good idea, but there's a better way to deal with it. And also it will check for A and N and do those fixes on its own. All right. Now it's done. So we're going to finalize it real quick. By the way, this one-click rewrite is assuming these settings here. And I already went through and said that these are pretty good. The recommended level is good. One level or multi-level nesting. Find synonyms for words inside spun phrases as well. You may or may not like that, so you can try it both ways. There are protected keywords that won't be replaced. If you add United Locksmiths, then the word United. That way, if you put it in, it won't go changing the company name, right? You could even put it as United Locksmiths or Flying Locksmiths in this case. Then you can protect all capitalized words if you think there's a reason for that. And this just comes down to your computer speed. If your computer is fast, then you can have it on. If it's slow or doesn't have a lot of memory, you can flip it off. Okay, there's a note here about that to help you understand that. Okay, and once all that is done, we can go through and finalize. Now, the point I want to make real quick is that guys who do a lot of spinning get used to reading through this fast. Chicago Locksmiths, Best Locksmith Company, the expert, professional, specialist locksmith, professional, right? And with manage to take care of all of every one of your what? And or also some of these are going to come out better than others. Some of these you won't like. But again, let's go to finalize article. And here is a place where you can actually edit the article. You can get in here and literally make changes, take things out, add things in, whatever you like. Now, you may want to do it in here and you may not. But the point is, what else can you do? You could just continue, because then we're going to generate a unique version. Okay, we can generate one or more unique versions. So again, these are things that you can flip on or off for instant results. Use only synonyms instead of original words. I would not recommend that. Then nothing gets to read normally. Has to absolutely only use everything else, and that's kind of crazy. It just makes it harder to edit. Intelligently reorder paragraphs and lists. It can reorder the paragraphs, maybe. You'll decide, because again, you just got to make sure that the results look right when they go back into Excel. Generate strict HTML code? No. Okay, we're not going to fetch relevant videos or images. You could return to editing in step 2 if you want. But let's generate a unique version. And that's something else I want to make a point about. There's like 978 words here, right? It's probably because the original article is right around 978 words, right? If I were to look at it, 913, and a bunch of these symbols. So yeah, that makes sense, right? Sometimes when you hit generate a unique version, because every time you hit it, it will generate a brand new version. Sometimes when you hit it, it'll only show you like 150 words. It'll be small and you won't understand why. Be prepared for that. Just hit it again, right? You can hit this like 100 million times, right? It's going to be like uniqueness will be huge every time. You don't need to worry about missing. Aha, 97 words. That's obviously bad. It's just a glitch in the system. Don't ask me what causes it. So just keep going till you get back to normal. All right. Now we could fix grammar and spelling on this thing right now, and that's going to be with their perfect tense grammar checker. It's not perfect. I guarantee you. I don't even like it sometimes because it misunderstands some things. Like, you know how we use our open closing parenthesis? It wants to make that an A because it thinks it's the first item in a list. Okay. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to save grammar checking for Grammarly. Grammarly's better. All right. So now I'm just going to click in here and Control-Alt, Control-C. Okay. To show you how this works, I'm going to come back to Word. And I'm going to basically just paste right over my original work. Again, I have this in Excel, so I don't need to worry about saving this, okay? I'm going to just paste as text only, okay? Now will come the next part, and that's Grammarly. As you can see, I went into my Grammarly account, and I added the Grammarly app to here, so I can open Grammarly and run this right inside my Word. You don't have to do it that way if you prefer to do it online through your Grammarly account, or ours, for giving you access to ours. But doing it in Word is pretty useful just because you're right here. Either way you want to go is fine. One advantage to doing it online is that you see the rank and you don't really see it in here. But I can open Grammarly, okay? And I can make sure it's doing all these. I can say, I understand what's going on here, and it will start, going through all the work and so on. That's great. Okay, I will save that for another video where I walk through Grammarly and all the stuff about Grammarly, and then we'll talk about converting it back and pasting into an Excel, because frankly, how do you think that works? That's pretty easy, right? Okay, like I'm gonna drop this. I just want to make one point real quick. How would you paste this back into Excel? Okay, I'm gonna close Grammarly. Say I was done with all my changes. I just need to change back that space, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, space, right? Control C, Control H, Control V. And replace it with what? I got to get that tab again. One thing is, I always have to chase that tab down, don't I? So I will put like an A and a C or who knows what. Copy. Right here. Paste. That way I get the tab. Copy. Come back here. Paste. Right? Replace all. Okay. It's done. So now I should be able to take the whole thing. Copy. Come right into Excel and paste it as text. Bam. Yes. So now I have a version that's rewritten, clear contents. It's rewritten, it's different, it should be different writing on the whole, right? Like if I go from here to here, I can see the writing change. See? Yep. Okay. And it should continue like that, right? So the concept is if you did go through Grammarly and eyeball edit it, then by the time you paste it back in here, it's a nice variation. Then we can go back and get another variation, do the same thing. Generate a unique version, copy that, and then come back here, Control-Alt, Control-V, and then run our Grammarly through it, and then replace, again, the open parenthesis bit to tabs, and put that into Excel as the next one down, right? And that's the idea, just so you know. Okay, that one didn't work because that was a wrong format. But now you get the idea of where we're going. So our next video is just going to be all about editing, Grammarly and eyeballing, right? Okay, getting there.